Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm pleased to be here today talking to those of you who have the opportunity to find sustainable long-term solutions to the problems facing the American economy. As you alluded to with my senior statesmanship, I've been around a long time, and it's been a long time since I've seen this many problems of a long-term nature that I call undeniable, unsustainable, and yet politically untouchable. Permit me to start with one number. $53 trillion in today's dollars is what the country owes, is projected between our future liabilities, our national debt, and our huge unfunded promises for programs like Social Security and Medicare. Social Security and Medicare are about $44 trillion of this. It is significant that Medicare is projected to be about $35 trillion, and Social Security is something on the order of $7 trillion. So Medicare is by far the largest fiscal problem. Every American with this kind of debt is now burdened, most of them unknowingly, with more than $175,000 in federal liabilities and unfunded government promises. Taxes would have to more than double to pay for them. Slipping this huge check of debts and taxes to our children should indeed be not only unthinkable, but immoral. And our unprecedented current account deficits and levels of foreign debt, given our record low level of savings, is downright dangerous. Given our abysmal national and personal savings rate, we no longer owe this debt to ourselves. We owe much of it to foreigners. We simply must increase national and personal savings. We are leaving this country vulnerable to economic and geopolitical risks that no great country should be taking. And ballooning health care costs, our number one fiscal problem by far, threaten the very competitiveness of our economy. In our lifetime, as you know, 78 million boomers will retire, causing the cash deficits of Social Security and Medicare the foundation of America's social safety net. These deficits happened long before the so-called, and in my view, fictional trust funds are solvent. These programs must be reformed to reflect the demographic realities, while also making them solvent, sustainable, secure, and more savings-oriented. The question, of course, is how to reform. Some would suggest that we simply raise taxes. Beyond the thought that it is unthinkable that we double taxes, I hear proposals that eliminating the Bush tax cuts, that is, going to fat cats like myself, will go a long way to solve this problem. Let's look at some melancholy realities. Let's suppose we got rid of all the Bush tax cuts, and I hear few proposing this. This would amount to something like 1% of the GDP. The projected increase in entitlement spending is 9% of the GDP. On the other hand, particularly given the rapidly growing inequality of incomes, I consider it inevitable that at the very least taxes will be increased for the well-off. The point is, will they be combined with fundamental reform of these programs? Permit me to make one other rather obvious point. Spending these unthinkable amounts on mandatory entitlement programs means that other critical investments will be crowded out. I mean crucial investments in our children, their health and their education, and research and development. Indeed, as I look at the history, that crowding out process has already begun. I'm here because I'm committed to meaningful results in my lifetime. And as the Congressman indicated, this is an American issue, and I'm devoting a great deal of not just my energy and my time, but my financial resources to bring Americans together to find lasting long-term solutions. Sadly, we've gone from being an optimistic and hopeful society to one of great anxiety and increasing pessimism. For the first time in our history, A majority of Americans believe their children will not have a better standing of living than they do. That, my friends, is simply unacceptable. We owe it to the next generation to keep that dream alive and fully intact, the way our parents did. Engaging Americans' youth is critical to this process. They are the ones, after all, who will inherit this sobering future. They are truly our greatest asset, which is why they must be a fundamental part of any conversation about America's future and the past, and path it will take to get there. Through the Peterson Foundation, we encourage Americans to make responsible choices today while providing opportunity for tomorrow. This lack of sustainability will eventually begin to cripple America and threaten the very foundation of not just our financial system, but our country. The time for action is now. The greatest generation confronted challenges at least as daunting as this one. They fought and paid for the costliest war in history in every sense of the word costly. Not only did they repay debts far higher than today's, but they bought into and paid for the GI Bill, the Marshall Plan, and the huge infrastructure highway program. We have done it before, and I can see no reason we cannot do it again. But the changes required must begin somewhere. I see no better place than this room right now. So today, it's our mutual turn to do something. Thank you.